Snow White, the Medal of Honor, and Maine are all on this day. Welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is December 21st, 2022. It is the 355th day of the year. You got 10 days left. It is the 51st Wednesday in the 52nd week and the first day of winter. Congratulations, we made it to the cold part of the year. Just in time for the big blizzard that's about to hit pretty much most of the northern section of the country. I know we're supposed to get some snow down here in Portland. I know Seattle's supposed to get nailed, and people have been telling me they're expecting it big in Montana, Wyoming, Minnesota, North Dakota, that whole area. Today is National Maine Day. On December 21st, National Maine Day recognizes the 23rd state to join the Union, and it's also our most eastern state. Populated by the Wabanaki tribes before European explorers first arrived. I hope I pronounced them right. Wabanaki? Wabanaki. Anyway, the land that would later become Maine was colonized by the French and the English, and it kind of always put it up for grabs on who actually was going to own it for a while. Fast forward to 1820, the state was carved out of Massachusetts as part of the Missouri Compromise. Today it is sparsely populated, and it's got some of the most beautiful shoreline this country has to offer. I mean, you got your beautiful beaches like in Florida, the Gulf, and in California, and then you got your beautiful coastline, which you'll find in Oregon and in Maine. I like North Carolina's too. They're kind of a in-between. They got some beautiful beaches and they got some coastline that's amazing. I will be in Maine in June. I'm taking a cruise that's going to go up to Bar Harbor, Maine, Portland, Maine, and into Canada. Should be great. I love Maine. Anyway, let's see what else December 21st has given us. 1620, the Plymouth colony, William Bradford and the Mayflower Pilgrims land on what is now known as Plymouth Rock in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Now, originally on November 19th, they had spotted Cape Cod and they tried to sail south to Virginia, where they had obtained permission to settle, but strong winter seas forced them to return to the harbor at Cape Cod Hook, which is known today as Providence Harbor. They set anchor there on the 21st of November. After days and weeks of trying to figure things out, they decided they were going to build their own community and eventually went ashore at Plymouth Rock. The rock's still there, or at least half it. Half it's in the town square, half it's still on the shoreline. Contrary to popular belief, the Pilgrims at Plymouth Rock were not the first settlement in the United States. You had the Jamestown settlement in Virginia, which happened in 1607, and even though it wasn't part of the colonies or anything like that, but down in Florida in St. Augustine, the Spanish set up camp and started colonizing in 1565. 1861, the Medal of Honor. Public Resolution 82, containing provisions for the Navy Medal of Valor, is signed into law by President Abraham Lincoln. 1919, American anarchist Emma Goldman is deported to Russia. 1970, the first flight of the F-14 multi-role combat aircraft. This is known as the Grumman F-14 Tomcat, and it is an American carrier-capable supersonic twin-engine, two-seat, twin-tail fighter aircraft. If you don't know what this is, the original Top Gun, this is what Maverick and Goose were flying in. It was an amazing aircraft, and it served this country well for decades. The Tomcat was developed for the United States Navy's Naval Fighter Experimental Program after the collapse of the General Dynamics Grumman F-111B project. The F-14 was the first of the American Teen Series fighters. These were basically designed to combat the MiG fighters that the Russians had been putting out and we experienced in Vietnam. It was first given to the Navy in 1974 and was finally retired on the 22nd of September 2006. There were 712 built. In the latest Top Gun movie, I don't want to ruin it for you, but Tom Cruise gets shot down and he's trying to get back to the base and he runs into another air base by the enemy, and they happen to have one of his old type jets, the F-14. It's actually kind of funny. That's actually a really good movie. I wasn't expecting much, the new Top Gun, but it was pretty good. 1973, the Geneva Convention on the Arab-Israeli conflict opens. We'll have more on that next week. 2020, the Great Conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn occurs. The two planets are separated in the sky by 0.1 degree. This is the closest conjunction between the two planets since 1623. Movies released on December 21st, 1937, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. First Disney animated feature film ever follows Snow White as she hides from a jealous queen with a group of helpful dwarfs. Can you name all 7 dwarfs? I'll give you a minute. All right, let's see how many you remembered. There was Doc, Grumpy, Happy, Sleepy, Bashful, Sneezy, and Dopey. Walt Disney got the inspiration for the film from a couple German expressionist films. Born on December 21st, 1957, Ray Romano, best known for his role as sports writer Ray Barone on the television show Everybody Loves Raymond. He would later star in the critically loved but lesser known Men of a Certain Age. That was actually an okay series. He was also in Parenthood, not the movie, the TV show, playing Hank Rizzoli. He also did the voiceover work in the animated film Ice Age. I used to see him at the Comedy Magic Club down in Hermosa Beach all the time when he'd come in and do stand-up, and he was really a funny guy. And this is when he had Everybody Loves Raymond and he was doing movies and all that good stuff. He'd still come in and do stand-up. One time at the end of one of his shows, he was asking, is there any of my old stuff you guys want to hear? And I yelled out, tell him about the twins in the bathtub. So he has two twin boys and he used to tell the story. I won't get into it, but some things they were doing in the bathtub when they were like 2 years old, 3 years old or whatever. And he was like in there, but he wasn't paying attention, but he kept hearing them make noise and say something. So he looked. Anyway, there's a joke about it, but I said, tell him about your twins in the bathtub. He goes, oh man, that's going way back. He goes, give you an idea, I wrote that joke when they were like 2 or 3. They're in college now. So yeah, that was an old joke. Died on December 21st, 1945. George S. Patton, 4-star United States Army general and iconic commander who led a succession of victorious attacks in Italy, France, and Germany during World War II. He attended the Virginia Military Institute and the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. He finished 5th in the pentathlon event in the 1912 Summer Olympics. His grandfather was Benjamin Davis Wilson, a politician. He was portrayed by George C. Scott in the 1970 biographical film Patton. That was a good movie too. George C. Scott played an excellent Patton. On December 9th, 1945, Patton was sitting in the back of his limousine when his driver, PFC Horace Woodring, sped too fast over a railroad crossing in Mannheim, Germany, and plowed into the passenger side of a left-turning army truck, injuring only Patton. He was paralyzed. He was rushed to a station hospital in Heidelberg, Germany, 12 miles away, where he was x-rayed, revealing 2 crushed vertebrae. Simply put, he broke his neck. For the next 12 days, Patton lay in traction, at times with painful fish hooks implanted into his cheeks on either side of his upper jaw. This kind of stabilized his neck. But on December 21st, George S. Patton passed away in his sleep. A blood clot in his paralyzed body had worked its way into his heart and stopped it, ending the life of one of America's greatest battlefield commanders. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, and be nice to each other.